What's up, Raider Nation? How's it going? We already know this week a lot of drama, a lot of drama going on. But what's new, Raider Nation? We already know. Every year we get hit with something out of the blue. Just when we think after our big win in week 4, smooth sailing, boom, the Davante Adams news drop. And I'm finally here to talk about it, just getting more information as it comes and making this video on Thursday. Who knows? Maybe he'll get traded. Well, I make this video, who knows? But just giving you guys my thoughts and what I've been hearing and know some of the information has been going on. And, just moving forward, what's going to be like with Davante Adams. So Davante Adams came out and said on the K Adams show that he doesn't know if he played his final down with the Raiders. And a few hours later, I don't even know, a few hours, like maybe an hour later, came out that he requested a trade, which I know he and AP and Telesco and Mark Davis sat down Monday and had a conversation and brewing from preseason whether or not he wanted to play, which I think it's not a big deal because he really does. I don't think he's ever played, or going back to his rookie or 2016, I think that was the last time he played in the preseason. But other than that, didn't really see a problem with that. And then, of course, he had a kid doing training camp, so he took time off that. And, just miscommunication there from the coach, but I didn't see it as a big deal, It is what it is, And going forward during the season, he grew frustration last season because of the quarterback situation. But this season, you see him more open, try new things because, Davante Adams is a star receiver and he knows his value and he wants to put out what he knows he can do each and every week he's out there. And, going into season, boom, we lose game 1. But then we go to Baltimore. He has a big game 2. And then he sits out the week 4 matchup with the hamstring injury, which is an actual injury. I don't know why people think it's not. On Thursday, he was practicing and boom, just on a little, go route or stunt route. Yeah, he freaking boom. But yeah, back to the Carolina game. People say he gave up on that game, but I see it as this, if he really wanted to give up and stuff, he would have not been playing in the fourth quarter, even in the last drive when they put Aiden O'Connell in, and the game was completely over, man. Like, clearly, take your guys out or, don't be out there. And he could have done that. But he still played. I don't know why people, maybe the blocking, but that's just never been in Davante Adams' game. And I can see why AP and the coaching staff grew frustrated on that. But then just take it after that Carolina game where he called out the players' business decisions, which I don't mind. Coach, you're supposed to win that game. And coach came out, boom, this is the way I want it to be. I want to play like this. If you don't like it, then we're going to have to make a decision. And you could either be here or go somewhere else. And that's been the attitude the whole offseason. So I see it there. And then people said, oh, that's the game that Davante got called out by the coach, this and that. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors, so we only could speculate what happens. Other than that, boom, week 4 came. He sat out. The Raiders won without him and Max Crosby, the 2 best players on the team. And then Monday, boom, he doesn't know if he liked the tweet or no, the tweet was a post. Our coach liked the post, which you take it out as it is. I don't see how a head coach could do that. Like, I don't know, just, I guess people call it petty, but it is what it is. He likes the post, which I don't agree on, but it's the social age. You could do what you want with that. And then Tuesday, of course, Adams on the K Adams show, and then boom, the trade. So then we have freaking Raider Nation, the Raiders fans, other team, interested now because Adams requested a trade. Got people divided. But here's the thing that most people, I don't know, I haven't really heard or seen talked about. This situation is not, or I should say it's neither Davante Adams' fault or our head coach Antonio Peters' AP's fault, or our new general manager Tom Telesco's fault. This all falls back on, number 1, Mark Davis, and number 2, I know you guys don't want to hear his name, but Josh McDaniels. Because when Davante Adams came to Las Vegas, he wanted to do 2 things. Number 1, clearly he has stated in the past, playing with Derek Carr. Number 2 is the Raiders. He grew up by the Bay. that was his team growing up and he wanted to play for them. That's two. But once Davante Adams found out his boy Carr was getting not traded but released back in 2022, and Mark Davis gave the go around to McDaniels to let that happen and basically take control over any decisions he made. He was calling the shots. So then that happened, and this is why I say people think he quit on the team, Davante, which is not true, because if that was the case after the Derek Carr thing, Davante Adams didn't have to come back and play last season with Jimmy G and Brian Hoyer and Aiden C. Even though Aiden C. did play good, he didn't have to come back and do that. He could have said, all right, you guys traded my guy, my QB, I want out, He could have done that, as simple as that, get traded last year. But he restructured his contract, got all the guaranteed up front, So then that happened. And then coming into this offseason, we all seen the Netflix show Receiver, where you seen Adams' frustration, not with only the offense, the head coach, and the QB. And it's all validated, true, Why trade someone like Carr when you could have, why trade Carr and then get someone like Jimmy G, or not even have a plan, the McDaniels era, But that's the conversation for another day. So Adams has that, and then coming into the season, open mind, like I said, trade rumors all went out the door. He came out with the statement, and then just demanding a trade. I don't even saying demanding, it's just that the Raiders and Davante Adams just coming together and saying it's the best for both teams. If one guy doesn't want to be here, why does the team want him here? Well, not that the team, of course you want Davante Adams. He's still top 2 receiver in my eyes, top 3 receiver, still doing great things. Why would he want him? But like I said, he doesn't want to be here probably. So it finally came out of his mouth because he requested a trade. So now it's true, because before everyone was saying this and that. So now it's true. So now the suitors coming in, because it's not an easy trade just to trade Davante and the team takes the money and this and that. No, because it's still, if they trade right now before the trade deadline, I believe it's like $13.5 million. And if you trade it at the deadline or just a week before, I think it drops down to like 8.5 or 8.8, something like that. So the teams that are wanting to get Davante, not only do they have to have the space to pay him, but also the bi-weekly bonus checks of, I think, 800,000, 900,000. You got to have that money up front. You can't just trade them and be like, oh, I'll pay you like later or something. No, you got to have the money up front, which this might be in the Raiders' favor. The Raiders might go out and say, okay, I'm willing to take, 40%, 30% of that contract. But on top of that, we get a better pick for him instead of like a second, maybe a first if we take most of the money, or instead of a third or a fourth. Instead of fourth, we get a third, or instead of third, we get a second, just because we took some of that money off Davante's contract to the team, potentially trading to. And then this for a team is just clearly a 1-year rental, as when Davante Adams gets traded, he will have to sign like a new contract, because he's owed like 44 and I think it's 44 and 44 the next 2 years on the deal he's with the Raiders. But basically this was just a 3-year contract. So Davante Adams, they're saying that he wanted a new contract, and the Raiders weren't going for it. So who knows, still information getting out there, but I don't think that's the case. So when the team does trade for him, they're going to have to pay the $13 million this year and then potentially give him a new contract, So, and then it's crazy how people come out and say, oh, he's on the back end of his career. No, like you could see Davante Adams is still in his prime. He's still putting up numbers. I think since joining the Raiders, for a fact, he has the most touchdowns out of all the receivers since joining the Raiders. So he's still putting up the numbers. Last year, he had a 1,000-yard season, but it wasn't up to Davante Adams' standards. So he wants to get better in that. But yeah, people calling on Washington stuff, and he's not good anymore. That's just craziness. Clearly, they haven't been watching. But Davante Adams is still a number 1 receiver in this league and a top 2 receiver in this league. The only argument I could see making a receiver that's ahead of him is Justin Jefferson, and he's young, so that's the only argument. But route running, catching, and stuff like that, Davante Adams, best route runner right now in the NFL, and he still has I believe at least 3 more years that are Davante Adams level type of years. So then there's that, and then moving forward, just the Raiders have to move on. Now Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, and then you have Brock Bowers, of course, and then DJ Turner, and they can elevate McAllister, and then just go from there and see, maybe we get a receiver back in Davante Adams trade. But looking forward, I don't think there's going to be a trade going down this week just because Davante Adams is dealing with a hamstring injury. If the earliest will be a Saturday, but after that, I think it's going to be more towards next week, somewhere in the time frame. But I do believe Davante Adams has played his last snap for the Raiders. If he does somehow play another snap, I'll be very surprised. But other than that, we just have to wait and see what teams. I know Jets are number 1 and Saints are number 2, but Saints, it might get a little tricky. Derek Carr will have to restructure, which I see that happening if they want to give Davante Adams. And then the Commanders and the Steelers are next. But don't be surprised if a San Francisco tries to trade with Ayuk, that's still far away, but still I know they would want to get that off the books. And who knows, maybe just give Davante Adams for a 1-year rental. That's the only team I see taking the rental to make sense, and they'll win now with the 49ers. But other than that, we're just going to have to wait and see this whole situation play out. But this week against the Broncos, take our winning streak up to mile high, where they haven't beat us since 2019. So let's get this big dub and go 3-2 on the season and just better our chances of making the playoffs. Other than that, check you guys out later. Raider Nation, peace.